Hello and welcome to Smash Writing. And on we go to Saw 6. Unfortunately, there's so many of these movies. Okay, that's just not a problem. Yeah, before we go into it, let's talk about that. I know a lot of people are like, they're making another sequel. That's 10, 11, 12. James Bond, there's like 27 James Bond movies. How many Sherlock Holmes movies? We're fine, even though some of these are god awful. That's fine. You have a sequel, make a sequel. Doesn't matter. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. Maybe that's just a distraction from this one. Anyway, Saw 6 opens with a trap. We got one woman on one side, we got a guy on the other, piece of glass and a box in between them. And the name of the game is simple. For their sins, they must pay in flesh. Who's ever put the most amount of flesh in the boxes, by the time the timer runs out, will be spared. Which is largely dumb. This is a dumb test. I knew these traps were going to get bad. Wow, this one just tanks hard. Because this guy's got about well over 100 pounds on this woman. So it's like, how is this actually inherently a test for her? Because she's got a... What do you want? But she does win. Yeah, I guess. She lobs off an arm, which outweighs all the flesh she's throwing in the box. But just... Anyway, we meet the main character. I didn't write his name down. I hope at some point I did write his name down, but I don't think I actually did. Health insurance guy. His whole job is to find a reason to cancel your health insurance plan. He's going over things with his lawyer because he's being sued by a guy who's lost health insurance. He canceled and he died. But, while he's there, he's on the phone with someone. He's canceling plans with them on their birthday. They're really hyping up the fact that, he's just a gigantic piece of shit. That's like, you can make a main character we actually like and want to root for, you know. Yeah, we want to see people die in the traps, but when it comes to a main character, we gotta invest in them, or else we're not gonna care about your movie. You can have it both ways here. It's not that hard. Anyway, Hoffman's called in. They find Schramm's Agent Dum-Dum's prints on everything because he used Hoffman. Hoffman uses a cut-off hand from Hoffman to plant his prints on everything. And then we see that Perez is still alive, and she does not trust Hoffman. Can you please stop going back there? We meet a reporter named Pamela who's talking to Mark, and she lets slip that she wants to talk to Jill, and that he had stuff for Jill. Kramer left stuff for Jill. So he goes to see Jill, and he wants to the old tapes, and she gives him 5 envelopes. Turns out that there's actually 6. She has a bit of a flashback to where Kramer's trying to explain his way of doing things works, and his proof is Amanda. We know that that doesn't actually work because Amanda goes back in 3. But whatever. And that's why she's doing what she's doing now and why she's acting the way she's doing now. Feds are still investigating because a coroner has been on all of the Jigsaw cases. And he said the last bunch of them must have been somebody else because the cut edges don't match. They're different. It's from an inferior blade. Back with health insurance guy, he thinks he's about to be robbed, so he ends up shooting one of his guards. And then he's grabbed by a pigman. He knows the video. When he wakes up, he sees a video of Kramer. And he knows Kramer. They met through the clinic, and he actually cancels Kramer's insurance. He threatens to cancel Kramer's insurance when Kramer wants to go to Sweden, or I think it was Sweden for a clinical trial kind of deal for his cancer. And it really pisses off Kramer, as it would. This is Kramer about to die, and his insurance, his guy he thought was a friend and everything, was canceling his insurance. But he has a game to play now too. In his first game, he has to hold his breath longer than a smoker. To which I say, fuck you, I'd beat you in that game, despite the fact I'm a smoker. Meanwhile, we see a mother and a kid locked in a cage, with a life-death lever going on and hydrochloric acid above them. They have no idea how they got there. Of course not. Pam gets a note. She goes to see Jill. And they talk about attention and everything. But that wasn't the reason why she was there. She was there to be kidnapped by a pygmy. She wakes up in her own cage. Back with health insurance guy, his next test is he pretty much has to hold these chains up like this, which are keeping these two people supported. And he's showing pictures of both of them. He's being shown pictures of both of them. You have an older woman, diabetic. She has a family and someone who his algorithm would cancel. Meanwhile, you have a perfectly healthy Alan. I wrote his name down. I wrote his goddamn name down. Alan is alone. He's healthy, he's young, but he has no one in the world. And you're seeing pictures of him sitting by himself, living his good life, because that's how you live the perfect life. And he chooses to kill Alan. Which I argue. Because no. She has a family, sure, and they'll miss her entirely, but her bloodline will go on. Alan could find someone in 3 days and go on to create his own goddamn family. His thinking is wrong. Anyway. And honestly, he could just pick his feet up, put him on the council, and hold him for a bit longer as he thinks on this a bit longer. Get too worked up over killing longer. We see Mark getting called back to the station, and we see something. We see Jill sneaking an envelope into a door slot, but we don't see whose door it is. And once again, they point out the sloppy. We see another flashback. Mark is working on the twisting trap from Saw 3. And they're once again pointing out, Kramer's pointing out, you're doing this wrong, and Amanda's jabbing at him over doing things wrong. And we see him and Amanda butting heads. They don't really like each other. And we see that Amanda's being put into the game to make sure everyone's following rules from Saw 2. And she kind of goes, when's your test? And he's like, I don't need to be tested. Whenever they get done jabbing at him, Amanda's taking Kramer back, and they actually run into Jill. She's there to ask him to stop doing what you're doing. One last time, and he goes, I don't want you to worry, I'm going to provide you a way out. And he gives her a key, and it's around her neck. She uses that actually in Saw 5 to unlock the chest he gives her. Back with health insurance guy, he has to help his lawyer through this maze steam. He has to pull the levers, I believe, wheels, whatever, to help turn off the steam, but every time he does, he burns his hands. She manages to just make it through, but the timer's still ticking on her. She has to get the key that is in him. No one's thinking or talking for more than 2 seconds anyway, so she tries to attack him. It goes south. He takes her out. And onward he goes. Well, back with Hoffman, he's arrived. They've got they got one person about to scramble all the tapes, the last tape, and the coroner has told them that it's Perez, the FBI boss, and this guy just scrambling the tapes, and they've told him, like, hey, we're told that Agent Dum Dum couldn't have been doing this because his fingerprints are wrong. This The fingerprints we found are abnormal. They've come from a dead body. And he is about to be outed when he chucks coffee in the Perez's face and he kills all three of them. He pours gas on there, he stubs the dead hand all over the place, and he catches on fire, and he's racing back to be there for the final test. Unbeknownst that Jill is also there now too. And we see the reporter's cage, and we see the two in the cage, the mother and son in the cage. He actually pulls the lever to try to do something, but nothing actually happens. But in the final room, the final test, he has to do, health insurance guy does, is there's a carousel of 6 people. It is the 6 people he calls the dog pound or the dog pit or something like that. Their whole jobs are to go through everyone's insurance files, find out if there's any mistaken typos or wordage they can use to cancel people. And now there's a gun pointed at them, and he has to shoot 4 of them. 4 of them will be shot. 2 he can choose to live by sticking his hand in and stopping the little button thing, I guess, and it'll stab his hand and raise the gun up, and the gun will shoot the air. He picks 2 women. We'll get to that trap in a moment later. But he picks the 2 women, and he goes on. And it leads him to a cage that's next to the mom and son on the left, and the reporter on the right. The reporter, turns out that's his sister. That's who he had plans with tonight that he canceled. And that's where the lever comes into play. Their test now, they are the family of the guy who died, and they're suing him for wrongful death kind of deal. It's up to them whether or not they're going to have him filled full of acid or not. The mom forgives him. The son doesn't, and he's dead. Meanwhile, back here with Hoffman, he gets there in time to finish it, and he's tased by Jill. It wasn't just the letters in that box. The reverse bear trap was in that box. And she traps him up to the reverse bear trap. She doesn't stick around, though, to see that the bear trap it might have went off, but he manages to get it off just enough so it just rips off part of his jaw. And that, my ladies and friends, was Saw 6. Okay, let's talk about Saw 6. Let's talk about that carousel before I forget. I'll have to reshoot it like I did before. First off, I'd have so much fun. I would be like, someone better and be knowing how to cook some spicy chicken sandwiches, because you'll be making me one every day from scratch for life, for doing this for you. Now, you have 6 people in this carousel. You know it'd be more fun if one of them self-sacrificed. Because I don't think we've seen that yet. It's just straight up, pick me. And you could have had one of them go, pick me. Let that person live, and I'll take her place. Show a little bit of humanity. Make it different. Begging you. No, just 6 assholes all screaming about, pick me, I'm pregnant, I am your favorite. Oh, whatever. Health insurance guy, you could have made him a little bit redeemable here. Go the route. Sam Raimi shot a movie. I'm going to look it up. I can't remember the name of it. Drag Me to Hell. Where the bank teller had to deny a loan. But she didn't want to deny it, but she was forced into it by her boss, and she was trying to aim for that promotion. So she was trying to show she had some backbone. Do that with this guy. Show us something. Show us some reason to care about the character we're following along. I don't even care enough to look up his name. We've got to care about characters, or we're just not involved. And your traps are getting very, very bad. The carousel one was fine, but nothing else was. Nothing was. I really don't care about. I didn't care about the Mark Hoffman stuff going into this. I don't really care about it now. Jill was a nice touch for a little bit, but I'm kind of over that. This movie did everything worse. It just got worse as it kept going and going. Like I said, at least the carousel was fun because I had a little chuckle thinking, what would I do? I'd be like, oh, people are going to be making me food. Just the chaps felt just largely it's trauma combat, like he not really trauma combat, like the first trap largely flavored that one dude. Unless she hacked off a limb, she was never going to win that test. So how are these tests supposed to test you if you can't seemingly win it? And it's not like you got them sawed up and you got to lob off a foot to get out or something. Because they didn't, because Dr. Gordon really didn't have to do that in the first movie. He could have just shot at him. And there was even potential here. You could have done something good, I guess. Really shaken up the health insurance thing. Or just take a politician. Because the politician, like, he even complains about him. Just take a politician. Because they, at the end, you could have the politician actually win this. He's forgiven. And then we see him actually fighting to make change in the health insurance policies. Kramer never gets a win. Nobody ever learns anything. They just die. You can have compelling characters and evolving characters who grow and learn and still have your brutal traps, so you're serving both masters. It just takes a little bit of effort here. There was no effort here. I don't care about the Hoffman stuff. I didn't care about the players. Agent Dum Dum is at least gone. I don't even know why Mark would even use that hand again. He already knows he can't do it. Another autopsy guy will come in and go, oh, this is the fingerprints of a dead man. That's not insulting yet. We'll go with D again. Skip these middle movies, man. They're not worth it. Have a good one. Bye-bye.